let you know all the little tears gon' come and go. Baby, just gotta make up your mind that every little thing's gonna be alright.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be looking at the Merlin statement thing. I don't really know what you'd call it, to be fair. But yeah, they kind of just released this statement thing about how their parks and attractions and everything is gonna work when we can actually get back to them and when they reopen. So I thought it'd be quite fun to just go through it, share my opinions, kind of share my thoughts on how it's all gonna work and everything. And yeah, just have a little discussion about it and everything. So that is what we're going to be doing today. If you're new here, hi, my name is Zoe. Welcome to my channel. Hit that subscribe button because I'm getting so much closer to 1,100 subscribers, and that was kind of my next goal after 1,000. So if you want to get me there, then feel free to hit that subscribe button. Before we get into the video, I do just want to give a shout out because I don't really do shout outs or anything, but I have become so obsessed with this YouTuber that I can't not shout him out. So his name is Slothy Vlogs. You've probably all heard of him, and I've just become so obsessed with his videos recently. They've just given me a lot more happiness and a lot more joy into my day. They've given me a distraction from everything that I'm going through right now, and yeah, I don't know, they've just made me really happy, and they've really cheered me up, because you know, I'm not thriving at the moment. I'm kind of going through my own personal shit, so it's kind of nice to watch those videos and they really cheer me up. It's nice to see him having fun with his friends. You can tell how passionate he is about fun fairs and about rides and everything like that. So it's quite nice to watch his videos and watch that happiness and passion come through. I will leave a link to his channel in the description box, so please go and check him out. He deserves so many more subscribers and so much more recognition because he's a great guy. He's so genuine, he's so nice, and his family are so nice too. So if you want to binge watch all of his videos like I'm doing right now, I'm working my way through all of his vlogs, then please go and do that. I'm really annoyed at myself that I didn't discover him sooner, but to be fair, if I didn't, then I wouldn't really have anything to watch during lockdown, so it's quite nice that I've discovered him at this time. But yeah, honestly, he's become one of my favorite YouTubers now, and I think he's great, so definitely go and check him out. His link will be in the description box. Okay, let's get into the video. So Merlin, I think it was a few days ago, I can't remember how long ago it was, they released a sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, statement, guide, something like that. I'll leave this link in the description box, you can go read it for yourselves. And it's basically telling us how the parks are, well, how the parks and attractions are going to work throughout all of this, and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go through each one and just sort of give my thoughts on it and all of that. So the first one is, please make sure you have made your booking online where possible. And I think they're doing this because I think they're definitely going to limit the capacity. I think they're only going to allow 50% capacity in, or maybe 75%. I have a feeling that it might start by only letting in 50% of the capacity, and I think as time goes on they'll gradually increase it. So in a few months, for a few months it could be 50, and then it could be 70, and then they could finally go back to 100. But I definitely think they're going to start by limited capacity, and I think booking online is the best way to do that, because then obviously they can anticipate how many people are coming, and if it obviously gets to the capacity limit, then you can stop people from booking online. The only thing that I'm a bit sort of confused about this is what happens to Merlin pass holders, because obviously Merlin pass holders, we can't book online. We just turn up on the day, show our pass, and then we can get in. So I'm not really sure kind of what's gonna happen with that. I mean, we might still be able to book online, maybe reserve a space. and then I don't know, like have like a Merlin Pass like code or something that we have to put in. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work, but yeah, I do think that is a good thing, like booking online. And it also saves time on the day as well. It saves more queues as well, because obviously people would queue up to buy tickets on the day, so it saves queues. It means we can social distance easier. So yeah, I just really want to know, like, what's the crack with Merlin Pass holders, because obviously we can't really book online, so I'm not really sure how that's gonna take place. The next one is, before leaving home, please check our website and social media pages for the latest information. And I think this is a really good idea. It's always a good idea to check everything online before you set off, because I mean, your tickets will already be booked online, so I guess you don't really have to check for like capacity and stuff, but maybe just check, you know, see if they are actually still like open, see how everything is running, see like what you need to take with you and everything like that. So, and obviously there's always going to be updates and changes and whatever, so it's always best to check like the website or social media pages before like going, and then like you don't want to go and then get there and then like possibly get turned away. So I think that's a really good idea. The next one is, please be ready to make on-site payments using a contactless bank card rather than cash where possible. So I don't think they're going to completely ban cash, because I feel like for some people like cash might be the only way that they can pay for things. Like, you don't know like everyone's circumstances, but I think for the majority of people, like, we are gonna pay through contactless bank card, Apple Pay. I don't really know of any other ways you can pay contactlessly. So yeah, but I think that is a really good idea, because obviously it's a lot safer. I think you can like spread the virus through cash, I'm pretty sure. So obviously doing it contactless is a really good way, but I don't think they're going to completely ban cash. I think they're just going to try and encourage people to pay by like a contactless card rather than through cash. The next one is, if recommended or required by local health authorities, please bring a suitable face mask covering. Where necessary, face masks will also be available at our attractions should you require one. So they haven't really specified whether a face mask is going to be compulsory or not. I know that Universal City Walk and at Disney Springs in America, because they've recently just reopened and I've seen like videos about it and stuff, you have to wear a face mask. The only time you can take it off is when you're sat down eating. So you are like required to wear a face mask. If you don't have a face mask, then they won't let you in. So yeah, but I don't know whether that's going to be the case for the UK or not. I mean, Boris has said like you can go to beaches and like you can go for days out and whatever, and like you don't have to wear a face mask. So I'm not sure whether that's going to be the case for theme parks and attractions and everything, because it's like an open space anyways, so I'm not really sure what good a face mask would do anyway. But if it's going to keep everyone a lot safer, if it's going to be a lot more, you know, like if it means taking more precaution, then like absolutely, like let's do it. But yeah, I really hope that if we are required to wear face masks, I hope they sell like branded ones. Like I hope they sort of make ones like branded to that theme park or branded to that attraction. Like imagine walking around with like a Smiler face mask, like how cool would that be? So yeah, you know, it's not like they haven't sort of specified whether it's compulsory or not. I think if the government say that you have to, then we'll have to. But if the government say we don't have to, I don't think Merlin Parks will require it, and I don't think they'll make it a compulsory thing. The next one is, we politely request that you refrain from visiting our attraction should you start displaying any of the symptoms associated with COVID-19. Please contact guest services should you need to amend your booking. I think that's really cool, and that's a really good, like, you know, that's really good advice, because if you have any symptoms, please stay the fuck at home. So yeah, like, you know, we don't want to be spreading this virus even more. The quicker that this virus is like under control and the less people have it, the quicker we can get back to these parks, and the quicker everything can actually go back to some sort of like normality. So yes, but I think that's really good, the fact that you can amend your booking, because obviously if you've booked to go in like 2 weeks time, and then the next day after you've booked it you end up with symptoms, then obviously you're not going to be able to go in 2 weeks time. So I think the fact that you can amend your booking is really good. It's a really useful thing. And yeah, just stay at home if you have any symptoms. Okay, so this is when you arrive at any of the Merlin attractions. We have significantly reduced the daily ticketed capacity of our attractions to allow for social distancing and the best possible guest experience. Yeah, so it's like what I said earlier, they've limited the capacity. Doesn't say by how much, but yeah, definitely reduced the capacity. I'm not sure like on capacity numbers, like what is the number that they're not allowed to like go over, like what is the number of a full capacity, because I'm not really sure what that is. But yeah, I definitely think they are going to start by halving the capacity, and then gradually over time it will just like go back to normal and they can start letting in like the full capacity. If arriving by car, we request that you follow all instructions regarding parking arrangements, and then there's like a picture with like markers in like the car bays, which I think is quite cool. You know, keeping your distance from like being able to get into your car, and it's quite nice actually, because it means if you kind of struggle like getting out of your car, sort of like, I'm not explaining this very well. If I hate when my dad like parks next to somebody else and it's like such a squeeze to get out of the car. So I think obviously we won't have that issue anymore, which is quite cool. You have like a lot of freedom, a lot of space around you. So I think that's a really good idea. And yeah, I think that's kind of how it's going to be for a while. Guests will notice new information signage informing them of key safety messages and instructions. So at Disney Springs and Universal City Walk, they have like signs all over the place reminding everyone to keep their social distancing, to keep your mask on. Disney Springs and Universal City Walk also have hand sanitizers stations like everywhere, and they have like hand washing stations like all over the place. So yeah, they've done like a really good job with that. I will link the 2 videos that I've watched, I'll link them in the description box, as well as like everything else, because it does kind of give a good idea of how it might be in the UK with UK theme parks and like Merlin attractions and everything. In addition to our employees undergoing daily non-invasive temperature checks, we may also require our guests to participate in such checks as a condition of entry. Any person who is displaying temperature I can't see because the arrow is like in the way. Oh, here we go. Any person who is displaying a high temperature associated with fever will not be permitted into the attraction. Please contact guest services should you have any concerns. And I'm quite like I understand why they're doing it. I think it's really good that they are doing it, but my fear is I'm quite like a hot-blooded person anyway. Like I literally like run up the stairs and I'm like sweating. And it's not because I'm like ill, it's not because I have a fever, like it's just the way that I am. Like I get hot really easily, really quickly. So I'm kind of thinking, especially on like a really hot day, like today, it's so hot outside. I'm kind of thinking, when I get to a theme park, or when I get to like that attraction, I'm literally gonna be, if it's like a hot day like this, I'm gonna be like sweating my balls off. And they're going to take my temperature and it's literally going to be so high, and they're literally going to think I have coronavirus when I don't. It's literally just the fact that I'm a really hot-blooded person. So yeah, not really sure how that's going to work for me. I feel like they're going to take my temperature, it's going to be way too hot, and they're going to think I have symptoms, and they're going to tell me to go home and quarantine for 14 days when I actually don't need to. Like, it's just because I'm like sweaty and whatever. So yeah, I'm quite fearful of that. It doesn't say that it is going to be like they are definitely going to do it. I don't know what daily non-invasive, I don't know what that means. I don't know whether that's like compulsory or no idea. So yeah, but it doesn't say that it's going to be like a compulsory thing for guests. I mean, it might be and it could be. I guess it kind of just depends on like what the government say and like their advice and everything. I know that they are doing it for like the well-being of the guests, and they're doing it to keep everybody safe. So yeah, but that is kind of like my only fear, the fact that, you know, I'm quite a hot-blooded person and I get hot quite easily, and they're gonna take my temperature and it's gonna be like through the roof, and they won't let me in even though there's gonna be like nothing wrong with me. So yeah, I'm quite fearful of that, but we'll see what happens. Okay, the next page is social distancing measures, oh, I can't speak today, within our attraction. We have introduced new arrangements for the application of social distancing within queues. Clear markers or signage have been installed in our attraction entry, ride, restroom and dining queues to help guests keep a safe distance from one another. Our employees will monitor the queues to ensure that social distancing is maintained. I feel like this is going to be quite difficult because, I mean, like, especially like at Alton Towers with like the smiler queue and stuff like that, you're quite sort of like squeezed in together. It's quite like a tight space. So I definitely think social distancing is going to be pretty difficult, and also having to have staff like go through the queue and make sure people are social distancing. I feel like it's going to be quite a challenge. It's going to be quite difficult. One thing I want to know is, like, I don't understand how social distancing is going to work, because it's like, can you meet up with like other friends at that theme park and then just go around with them, or can you only go in with the people that you've entered the park with, or like can you meet up in like, because obviously like most enthusiasts kind of tend to meet up in big groups and stuff, like are they gonna allow big groups to meet up with each other? Like, I'm really not sure how it's all gonna work. So yeah, but I definitely think social distancing in ride queues especially are going to be the hardest thing, and especially if you have people that just like take the piss a little bit, then it is going to be like, it's going to be quite difficult. But you know, we'll see how it goes, see what happens. But yeah, I definitely think that's going to be quite a challenge for a lot of people. We have introduced new arrangements for the application of social distancing in our dining areas. Table and chairs have been reconfigured to ensure enough distance between seated parties. In area where strangers are seated together, seats will be removed or blocked to ensure there is a suitable gap between guests. And it's like in, again, Universal City Walk in Disney Springs. They've, oh no, not in Universal City Walk, I don't think, but in Disney Springs, they've like put the tables so they're all like at a distance from each other, and then they've got like, so you have to, oh, it's really hard to explain, so you have to like sit, they've got these like circle tables and you have to like sit on one side, have your sort of like party sit on one side, and then leave like a gap for the server, so when they come over and give you your food you have to like leave a gap for them. So obviously we're keeping our distance. That's really hard to explain, you're gonna have to watch the video to understand. But yeah, I mean, that's not going to be too bad, I don't think. I think that's going to be fine. But yeah, again, it's like what I said earlier, like, are we going to be able to meet up with like other friends, or are we literally just going to have to be like on our own, or like just with like a limited number of people, like 4 people per group maybe? Like, really not sure about this. The next one is, we have developed custom plans for the application of social distancing on our rides and our other attractions in order to minimise contact between parties. Strategies on separating guests include empty rows and leaving empty seats between guests' ride vehicles. And I'm just so like, I just don't like this. Like, I understand it and I'm like supporting it and everything, because obviously it's the social distancing, it's keeping each other safe, but I really don't like riding roller coasters on my own, and I always like to have someone sat next to me, even if it's a stranger and I don't know that person at all. I think just having someone sat next to me makes me feel a lot more like comforted, is that even a word? I don't know, like comfortable. And it's not necessarily because I'm scared, I don't know, like, I'm just like not a very confident person, so I think having someone sat next to me kind of gives me a bit more confidence and it makes me feel a bit more comfortable and everything. So I think the fact that we're not gonna sort of be able to sit next to anyone really makes me a bit scared, and it makes me a bit anxious. I feel like it's going to make the rides less enjoyable, because I think one of the most enjoyable things about rides is riding it with other people. So the fact that, you know, I'm kind of not going to be able to do that kind of makes me really sad. It makes me a bit anxious as well. Also means that the queues are going to be so much bigger, and the wait times for rides are going to be so much longer. So that's going to be a real pain in the arse, but you know, something that we just got to do. You know, if we do this and we carry this out, then hopefully it will control the spread, it will just stop the spread completely, and we can just go back to normality, and we can go back to how the parks used to run. So yeah, but I'm not sure whether it's like you have to keep your distance like on rides when you like sit down. Can you sit with someone from your like party? Like say if me and my dad went, could I still sit next to my dad, or does he have to sit like 2 seats away from me? I'm not really sure. I really hope that's not the case. I really hope, you know, if me and my dad go, we can still sit next to each other, and it's like just strangers that we can't sit next to. But yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Not really, they haven't really sort of specified that, so yeah. Next one is guest viewing entertainment in the form of live shows or theatrical scenes will be separated from the performances and each other in accordance with social distancing requirements. And again, I feel like this is going to be quite a hard thing to do, especially if it's like one of those shows that people just like stand around and watch rather than actually sit down and watch. I feel like if you sit down and watch something, it's going to be quite easy to social distance. It's just like, you know, keep 2 chairs away from another person and whatever. But in terms of like standing around like watching something, especially like when Scarefest happens, like there's a lot of stuff going on that people just stand around and watch, so that's going to be quite difficult to like social distance whilst all of that's going on. And yeah, this is all going to be such a challenge. Like I can see it being an absolute nightmare. I'm trying to be positive about it, but honestly, like I feel like it's going to be really difficult. It's going to be really difficult for ride operators, going to be really difficult for enthusiasts, going to be really difficult for guests. Like we're just going to have to see how it all goes, what happens. But yeah, I just want it all to go back to normal, but I know that this is for our safety. And I mean, I can't complain because they are like I feel like they're putting in a lot of effort and a lot of time to make sure that we can social distance and to make sure that it is completely safe for everyone. So yeah, like they are doing a really good job, and like hats off to them, because obviously they need to put down like all of the markers, which is going to take so much time. They need to put in all of the, you know, measurements, and like get the face masks and get all the hand sanitizers and get the hand washing stations like everywhere. So I think, you know, hats off to them and like all of the parks that are doing that. But it's just a pain in the arse. Like it would be nice if we could just go to parks and it just be back to normal. We have introduced new capacity limits for our indoor experiences and facilities, for example shops, restaurants, theatres and guest service buildings. These restrictions will help ensure there is plenty of room for social distancing. Okay, so it kind of sounds like if you want to go into like a gift shop or something, you might have to queue outside, or if you want to go into a restaurant, you might have to queue outside. It's kind of like how we're queuing for supermarkets at the moment. So yeah, I feel like you might have to do that, which is annoying because I really like my merch and I love spending my time like in the gift shops and having a look at what merch they've got and everything. So that's going to be kind of annoying, but you know, just something that we have to do. Not really sure how that's going to work in terms of like, because when you come off some rides you have to go through the gift shop to like, you know, the exit is through the gift shop. So not too sure how that's gonna work, but I feel like if you want to go in like through the front entrance of the shop, you might have to queue outside depending how many people are actually in that shop already. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. We have adapted or suspended some experiences and facilities to ensure that social distancing is suitably maintained. For example, the provision of costume character meets and greets, some games, interactive or play areas, or touch pools and props have been either modified or suspended. So that's quite interesting. There is like a picture here and there's like a camera there, so I'm not sure whether that kind of means like on-ride photos. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to get any of them, which is kind of sad because I love on-ride photos. Or maybe, oh, we might be able to get digital ones though, to be fair. Might be able to get digital on-ride photos. Yeah, I feel like character meet and greets probably won't happen because I know like you're only doing it through a costume, but then that person in that costume is obviously still getting quite close to other people, and they always seem to have like a guide with them as well, so that person gets close to other people and whatever. So I feel like maybe meet and greets and stuff probably won't happen for a while, but yeah, we'll have to see what happens. We have installed new hygiene screens at many of our service counters and food stores to help physically separate guests from employees. So that's kind of like what some like supermarkets and shops are doing now. Basically just have like a screen in front of them, which is completely understandable, like no complaints about that. We have revised some of our standard operating protocols in order to reduce the proximity of our employees to guests. For example, this includes the way in which we now conduct security searches at admissions, how we perform height checks for our rides, or how we undertake guest service activities. So, oh my gosh, yeah, I completely forgot about that. So I know I'm just like referencing everything to Alton Towers because that is like the main park that I'm going to go to when this is all over. But yeah, Alton Towers, they have bag checks, which obviously means someone going through all of your stuff and like touching it and whatever. So yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, I'm not really sure how that's going to work. I mean, they've said that, you know, they've revised it and everything, so obviously they must have found a way to sort of do it, or they're thinking about a way of doing it. But yeah, I didn't actually think about that or how that's going to happen. Again, same with like height checks and everything. Like how, well, I guess height checks won't actually be too bad because it's just like a measuring stick and you don't really have to get that close to someone to be able to do that, so I don't think that'll be too bad. I just think like bag checks and stuff like that will be like the main things. Same with like Pleasure Beach as well because they have bag checks. So yeah, not really sure how that's going to work. I never really thought about that until now. But yeah, we'll have to see how that one sort of goes. I guess they could wear gloves, but then they'd have to like wear some gloves for one bag, take the gloves off, put a different pair of gloves on for the next person, etc, etc. That's just going to be such a ball ache. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how that works. I really hope that they actually do keep the bag checks, because knowing that I'm going into a theme park that has bag checks makes me feel a lot more safe and a lot more secure, because like someone could go to that theme park, they could literally have anything in their bags and then like anything could happen. So yeah, you know, it's just, I find it a lot more sort of safe and secure and everything, especially because I am an Ariana Grande fan and like stan, like she is my life, and like what happened in Manchester and everything, like it's sort of, even though I wasn't there, it still like really hit me, like it really hit me quite hard. And I always sort of think about that like whenever I'm in like big groups and everything, so I really do hope that they keep the bag checks. Because, you know, for an anxious person like me, like it just puts my mind at rest and it makes me have a much more endurable day, knowing that nothing like super dangerous is gonna happen, and like everything that people are carrying around with them is like perfectly safe and all that. So I really hope that they keep that, but yeah, we'll see how that one works. I do just want to say today is the Manchester attack anniversary, so I'm thinking of all of you Manchester babes. I really hope you're all doing okay. Please just message me if you need someone to talk to, and I'm really thinking of everyone that was there on that day and everyone that has been affected, and all of the families and loved ones of the 22 souls that we lost on that day. So my thoughts and prayers really do go out to all of you. Like I think about it every day, and it's just a really horrid thing that happened. But yeah, big hugs to all of my Manchester babes out there. Okay, so the next topic is hygiene and disinfection measures. So the first one is, let me just zoom in because I can't read that. We have introduced enhanced cleaning measures throughout the day which seek to disinfect high frequency touch points such as tables and chairs, service counters, grab and flush handles, ride restraints, door handles, plates, elevator buttons and taps. Wow, that's quite a lot. So yeah, I think they're definitely gonna like take the time to clean rides every sort of, I don't know, I mean, I guess they should clean them every time a new set of people get on the rides, but that's going to be such a ball ache and it's going to make the queues even longer. So I'm not sure whether they're going to actually be doing that, or they're going to clean it sort of every 15 minutes maybe, or every half an hour. Not really sure about that, but yeah, it's nice to know that they are putting in measures to make sure that cleaning is like a bit more of a priority than it kind of was before, and yeah, I think they're doing the right thing there. We have introduced new deep cleaning measures in the event that a person presents themselves with the symptoms consistent with COVID-19. So that's quite cool. Well, cool. It's a good thing that they're doing. We have introduced a large number of hygiene stations, hand sanitizer dispensers around the attraction for guests to use. So yeah, that's what like Universal City Walk and Disney Springs have. They have hand sanitizers everywhere. They also have like, they are selling hand sanitizers in their gift shops as well, so you can just grab one and take it around with you. They have like hand washing stations everywhere, so I definitely think that's going to be the same for not just Merlin parks. Like I think that's going to be like, it might turn into like a compulsory thing for like all like attractions and like all theme parks in the UK. So yeah, I think that is a really good thing, because it means, you know, people don't have to like go to a toilet to keep washing their hands, and people don't have to have a hand sanitizer with them. Like, you don't have to bring a hand sanitizer with you because the parks will already have it. So I think that's a really good thing. We have introduced new personal protective equipment requirements for a range of activities that employees routinely perform. These include face masks, disposable gloves, eye protection and hand sanitizer. The use of such equipment and clothing by our employees is both to protect them and our guests. So it sounds like that the staff might have to wear a face mask, but whether guests will, I'm not sure. But yeah, I feel like staff are definitely gonna be required to wear PPE, you know, like PPE, like equipment, whatever. But whether it's gonna be a compulsory thing for guests, I'm not really sure, but I definitely think for staff it is gonna have to be a compulsory thing. Which I feel really sorry for them having to like do that, and I'm like dreading that if I because I'm a ride operator myself, if I have to go back to work and I have to wear a face mask and stuff, it's going to be so irritating, and I can already feel it, like not being able to like breathe through my mask, especially on a really hot day. I'm going to be like so sweaty. Also, another thing, if we do have to wear face masks, how the hell are we going to vlog? Because I'm not like the loudest person, like anyways, like I don't really speak that loud when I'm in public and like when I'm vlogging in public, whereas if I wear my face mask, I feel like I'm gonna have to speak up a bit more. I'm gonna have to be a bit louder so you guys can actually hear me. So if anyone has any like tips or advice on that, then please do let me know. The videos that I've watched from Disney Springs and Universal City Walk, they've like wore masks and you can hear them perfectly fine, so I'm kind of thinking like we might be okay. But I don't know whether, because they're like, you know, big YouTubers and stuff, I don't know whether they had like a mic sort of attached to them, or whether it was just literally them just talking like without any sort of microphone equipment and stuff. So not too sure how that's gonna work, but again, we'll just have to see how it goes, have to see what happens. I think the majority of my vlogging might have to be like when I'm sat down to eat my food, because you're allowed to take your face mask off when you're doing that. So yeah, but we'll see. We have introduced new menu offerings across many of our food outlets to place a greater emphasis on grab-and-go options. Self-service buffets and salad bars have also been reconfigured or closed to reduce the number of high-frequency touch points. Cutlery and condiments will now be provided to guests with their meal or on request, rather than left in open areas. So yeah, I think that's a really good thing, because obviously if you're going to a restaurant, most of the time you have to go and get like the forks and knives like yourself and everything. So I think the fact that they're going to bring it out with your meal and stuff, I think is a really good thing. I think when the parks do reopen, like for the first few weeks, I feel like a lot of restaurants might not be open. I think outside sort of dining areas might be, but I think it's definitely going to be, you know, you're going to have to grab your food and eat it whilst walking around, or you're going to have to like sit on a rock and eat it or something, which I kind of don't like doing. I kind of just prefer, if I'm going to eat, like I prefer sitting down at an actual table and eating there and whatever. I just find it a lot easier than sort of eating and like walking around with it and stuff. But I definitely think that is something that I'm gonna have to do, like grab and go options. I feel like that's gonna be like the way forward for now, and then hopefully restaurants will be able to start opening up again like within the few weeks that the parks have opened. As with our employees, we politely request that all our guests uphold the highest possible hygiene standards, whether it be when sneezing or coughing, through regular hand washing, oh, I've lost where I am. Regular hand washing, or the frequent application of hand sanitizer. One thing that I'm quite scared of is that I struggle with hay fever a lot, which obviously means, you know, a lot of sneezing and whatever. So I feel like if I go out to like a park, or if I just go out anywhere and my hay fever starts playing up, I'm literally gonna have like a sneezing fit, and people are literally gonna like send me home because they think that I'm gonna have coronavirus, even though sneezing isn't a symptom of coronavirus. People are gonna think that I have it. So I really hope that when I like go out, my hay fever doesn't start playing up and I don't start like having a sneezing fit and whatever. So fingers crossed. But yeah, you know, I understand that, you know, just make sure that you're always washing your hands, make sure that you're always sanitizing your hands. It's maybe just like a hands thing, isn't it? Make sure your hands are clean. I feel like I've like predicted this like my whole life, because I've always had a thing about hands. Like my hands always have to be clean. Even like before all of this, like I've always had a thing about like dirty hands or like greasy hands. Like if I've just had food and I've not even like touched my food with my hands, I've like eaten it with a knife and fork, I always go and have to wash my hands afterwards. Or if I've had like a packet of crisps, I always have to thoroughly wash my hands afterwards. Like I've always just had this thing about clean hands. So I was kind of prepared for this, you know. I've kind of, you know, I've always been on it, I've always been on the ball. So yeah, but you know, just make sure if you go to parks and attractions and whatever, sanitizer, hand washing, just, you know, keep the hygiene standards up. And yeah, that, you know, like the more we like make these efforts and the more that we sort of participate in doing this, then the sooner that hopefully we're like this will go away, we can just go back to normal. So the final one is, our employees now participate in COVID-19 specific training programs, instructing them how to stay safe as well as how to keep our guests safe. And I haven't heard anything about my theme park that I work at about this, but I definitely think that I'm gonna have to do this as well. I feel like it's gonna be like a compulsory thing for like all ride operators and all like catering staff and like shop staff and whatever. So yeah, but I think that's really good that they've like done that. They've like put together a training course specifically for COVID-19. I feel like that's like a really good thing that they've done there. And obviously it will keep the employees safe, it will keep us safe. I mean, it's just like a nice extra thing that they're doing to take precautions. So well done, Merlin, because I feel like they've done a really good job with this. So that is the like sort of 9-page spread that Merlin released. Like I said, it will be linked in the description box, so you can go and check that out if you want to. I definitely think parks and attractions will be a bit strange for the first few weeks. I think just having to get used to it being like this, and having to get used to social distancing, having to get used to wearing a face mask, having to get used to sort of sitting away from like other people on rides and stuff. Like I feel like it's gonna be so like it's gonna take a while for us to like settle into it. But I mean, if it means that we get back to parks, then I feel like, you know, it's like a good thing that they're doing, and it's, you know, it's keeping us all safe and whatever. And then hopefully sort of within the next few months we start out like this, and then within the next few months of the parks and attractions being open, it can gradually just go back to normal. Like it's definitely not going to be a fast thing, and I feel like we're going to have to, it's going to have to be like this for a while. But hopefully by the end of this year, fingers crossed, it'll all go back to normal, and we can enjoy the parks and enjoy all of the attractions like we used to before all of this happened. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely not going to be the same at all for a while, but hopefully it's just something that we're gonna have to do like this year, and then hopefully in 2021 we can have a full theme park season, no virus outbreaks, no social distancing, and we can just go back to how we was, you know. So fingers crossed. So yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too boring for you, and I hope if you haven't seen this, then it's given you a bit of an insight onto how the parks and the attractions are gonna be when they reopen. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Stay safe, stay well, don't go like traveling to really crowded places, and keep hand washing, keep hand sanitizing, just keep yourself like safe and take precaution and whatever. And yes, like I said earlier, Manchester babes, I'm really thinking of you, sending all of my love and thoughts and prayers to all of you. And yeah, I think that's it. Check out all of the links in the description box. And yeah, I think that's it. I'll see you guys on Monday for a brand new video. Bye.